At the peak of his career, Charlie Sheen was considered one of the biggest and most talented stars in Hollywood. He had the fame, the money, and the attention that many actors only dream about. On screen, he was confident, intense, and convincing. Off-screen, however, he became just as famous for living a reckless and dangerous lifestyle. He was once the highest-paid actor on television, but he was also deeply involved in drugs, alcohol, and constant partying. For years, his personal life was filled with chaos, scandals, and headlines that often overshadowed his acting work. Charlie Sheen has said that he has been sober since 2017, and that is the story he has shared with the public. He wrote a memoir, went on speaking tours, and openly talked about living with HIV, saying it was under control. But in October 2025, people began to notice changes that raised new questions. Fans spotted him in Malibu with someone new, living quietly in a way he had never shown before. Then he appeared on a podcast and spoke about a so-called miracle drug that he claimed was being kept away from people like him. That statement confused and worried many listeners. Now, people are asking what Charlie Sheen is not telling everyone, and whether the truth might explain his attempt at a comeback. Charlie Sheen was born Carlos Erwin Estevez on September 3, 1965, in New York City. From the beginning, his life was closely connected to fame, pressure, and emotional tension. His father, Martin Sheen, was an Irish-American actor who was slowly building his career after gaining attention from the film The Incident in 1965. His mother, Janet Templeton, was an artist who tried to create some balance in a household that was often unstable. Charlie was the youngest of 4 sons, growing up in a home where ambition and unpredictability existed side by side. In 1966, the family moved to Dayton, Ohio, so Martin could focus on theater work. Even as a child, Charlie learned that life in his family followed auditions, rehearsals, and sudden changes. Things were not as calm as they appeared from the outside. Martin Sheen struggled with alcoholism and would sometimes pass out at the dinner table. These moments left a deep mark on Charlie and stayed with him as he grew older. As Martin's career grew, especially after his role in Apocalypse Now in 1979, the family became more deeply involved in Hollywood life and all the excess that came with it. Charlie was only 12 years old at the time. He spent time wandering around film sets and secretly taking small sips of beer from the craft services tables. At the time, it seemed harmless, but it planted the seeds for future problems. Fame, pressure, alcohol, and chaos became mixed together during important years when Charlie was still trying to understand himself. In 1974, the family moved to Malibu, hoping for opportunity and a better life. Charlie attended Santa Monica High School, but school never truly mattered to him. Hollywood felt louder, faster, and far more exciting than classrooms and homework. By the time he was 9 years old, Charlie was sneaking onto his older brother Emilio's film sets, watching actors perform and cameras roll. He became fascinated with the process and the attention. School slowly faded into the background. His attendance dropped to around 1/3 of the time, and his grades suffered badly. Eventually, he was expelled just before graduation. He also lost a baseball scholarship to the University of Kansas, which was a painful moment because he had dreamed of becoming a professional baseball player and playing shortstop for the Cincinnati Reds. When his parents encouraged him to finish school through summer classes, he laughed and seemed shocked that school even continued during summer. That careless attitude followed him into adulthood. At 17 years old, in 1982, Charlie officially dropped out of school and decided to fully commit to acting. He took whatever small jobs he could find, including commercials and extra work, just to stay close to the industry. Acting was not new to him. He had appeared alongside his father in the execution of Private Slovic at the age of 9 and worked as an extra on Apocalypse Now in 1979. Those early experiences were brief, but they were enough to hook him. Auditions replaced classrooms, and uncertainty replaced structure. He wanted success on his own terms, even if it meant taking serious risks. That risk paid off in 1984 when he landed a major role in Red Dawn at just 18 years old. The movie had a budget of $14 million and introduced the PG-13 rating. Charlie played Matt Eckert, one of a group of teenagers fighting a fictional Soviet invasion. Filming took place from September to December 1983, and he reportedly earned about $50,000, a huge amount for someone just starting out. When the movie was released in August 1984, it was a major hit, earning over $37 million in the United States. Almost overnight, Charlie became one of the faces of the 1980s, standing alongside young stars like Patrick Swayze and C. Thomas Howell. The controversy over the movie's violence only made it more popular and locked Charlie into pop culture. Instead of choosing safer roles, Charlie moved in a darker direction in 1985 with The Boys Next Door. He played a troubled teenager drifting toward violence, and much of his dialogue was improvised, based on stories he had absorbed while growing up. The film premiered at the Chicago International Film Festival and later quietly entered theaters. It did not perform well at the box office, but its raw and unsettling tone stayed with viewers. Over time, it became a cult favorite, and Charlie's rough, intense image began to feel deliberate. In 1986, he appeared in Lucas as a popular high school quarterback. On the surface, it was a clean and gentle role, but behind the scenes, his life was becoming more chaotic. That same year, he was arrested for an assault involving a 16-year-old who was connected to his then-girlfriend, Kelly Preston. Years later, the Lucas set returned to public attention when Corey Haim claimed he had been assaulted as a child. Charlie denied the allegations, but the shadow remained, and the wholesome image of the film no longer matched what people believed was happening off-camera. That year, Charlie also starred in Wisdom, a film written and directed by his brother Emilio Estevez. The movie followed a vigilante bank robber fighting corruption, but the production itself was troubled. Charlie's energy turned into reckless improvisation and risky behavior. When the movie was released, it failed financially, earning less than its budget. Critics noticed his intensity, and looking back, it felt like an early warning sign of the chaos that would later define his public image. In 1986, Charlie experienced a serious scare when he accidentally shot himself in the arm with a prop gun while filming. He was rushed to the hospital, treated, and quickly became tabloid news. Many called it his first brush with death. From that moment on, recklessness seemed permanently tied to his name. Later that same year, his career reached a new level with Platoon. He was chosen from around 2,000 actors to play the lead role of Chris Taylor in Oliver Stone's Vietnam War film. The filming in the Philippines was extremely difficult. The heat was intense, leeches were common, and the cast endured harsh boot camp conditions for months. Charlie was treated like a beginner and pushed to exhaustion. Seeing fellow actors injured made the danger feel very real. When Platoon was released, it became a massive success, earning $138 million worldwide and winning Best Picture. Charlie received a Golden Globe nomination at just 21 years old. Overnight, he was no longer just a promising actor. He was a true star. In 1987, Wall Street took him even higher. Playing Bud Fox opposite Michael Douglas, Charlie portrayed a young man tempted by wealth and power. The film became a symbol of the decade, and his performance was praised for its emotional depth. Behind the scenes, however, his cocaine use was increasing. In 1988, he overdosed at a party and was hospitalized. The headlines became louder, but his fame continued to grow. That same year, he starred in Young Guns as Billy the Kid, fully embracing danger and risk. He performed real stunts and suffered injuries, including a broken wrist after falling from a horse. The movie was a hit and strengthened his image as a fearless action star. He also appeared in 8 Men Out, playing a gambler in the story of the 1919 Black Sox scandal. The role showed a calmer, more thoughtful side of his acting. Although the film was not a big commercial success, it earned respect and proved Charlie had real range. By the early 1990s, Charlie Sheen seemed unstoppable. In 1991, Hot Shots was released and became a huge success. The movie was a loud and silly parody, and audiences loved seeing him embrace comedy. Despite being afraid of flying in real life, he committed fully to the role. The film earned millions and changed how studios viewed him. He was no longer just a dramatic actor. He was a box office star who could do comedy too. However, the balance between success and excess did not last. By the time Hot Shots Part Dux was made, his paycheck had grown, but his personal life was spiraling. Cocaine use and non-stop partying became normal. In 1992, he suffered a serious overdose, forcing his family to step in and stage an intervention. He entered rehab, and his struggles became public. Even then, Hollywood continued to reward him as long as he delivered on screen. This pattern of success mixed with self-destruction would follow him for years and shape the story people still debate today. Even with all the danger and chaos around him, Charlie Sheen's dedication to his work became almost legendary. He did not just want to act like his characters, he wanted to feel what they felt, even if that meant putting himself at serious risk. That approach followed him for years and became part of both his success and his downfall. Eventually, television opened a new door for him and gave his career a second powerful chapter. In 1998, when Michael J. Fox stepped away from the hit sitcom Spin City because of his battle with Parkinson's disease, the show needed someone who could carry the weight and keep viewers interested. Charlie Sheen stepped in, and almost instantly, the energy changed. He played Deputy Mayor Charlie Crawford, a role that seemed to fit his personality perfectly. Ratings climbed quickly, and audiences responded to his sharp timing and unpredictable charm. His salary rose fast, eventually reaching about $600,000 per episode, making him one of the highest-paid sitcom actors of that era. Over 4 seasons, Charlie appeared in 145 episodes of Spin City. His performances felt loose and alive, and while producers sometimes struggled to manage his improvisational style, viewers loved it. The show climbed into the top 10, and his characters' romantic storylines became a big part of its appeal. His on-screen chemistry with Heather Locklear's character felt natural, partly because it reflected his real-life reputation. Locklear later mentioned that Sheen actually had strict rules for kissing scenes, keeping things surprisingly old-fashioned on set. While his character's love life played out smoothly on television, his real relationship with Denise Richards was falling apart behind the scenes. In May 2000, Sheen was arrested after an incident involving Richards, and the news exploded across the media. He missed episodes, rumors spread, and his personal problems became public drama. Despite all of this, Spin City kept going. In 2001, Charlie even won the People's Choice Award for Favorite Male Performer. At its peak, the show pulled in around 20 million viewers per episode. Few people realized that nearly a third of his dialogue was improvised. He made up jokes, one-liners, and entire moments on the spot. That unpredictability became the show's edge and made him even more valuable. Then another serious scandal surfaced during the 4th season. Reports claimed Sheen had attended a party involving underage girls, and a leaked police report nearly shut everything down. Producers debated firing him, but feared the ratings would collapse without him. The incident was quietly pushed aside, rumors spread, and the show continued. For many observers, this was the point where warning signs stopped being ignored. When Spin City ended in 2002, Sheen's final episode mirrored his real-life ambitions, with his character running for office. Syndication deals followed, and he reportedly earned hundreds of millions over time. The money fueled an extreme lifestyle, including multiple luxury cars and a mansion worth millions. On screen, the ending felt hopeful. Off-screen, the spending never slowed. That success carried directly into 2.5 Men. By 2010, Charlie Sheen was earning about $1.8 million per episode, the highest salary in television history at the time. In just one season, he made close to $180 million from the show's original run alone. Syndication profits came on top of that, pushing his total earnings into the hundreds of millions. The show was a massive success, earning billions through reruns and advertising. Networks continued to support it because viewers kept tuning in, no matter what was happening in his personal life. Behind the scenes, however, everything was starting to fall apart. Sheen demanded more creative control and clashed constantly with the show's creator, Chuck Lorre. By 2009, arguments became explosive. Scripts were rejected, production stalled, and public insults followed. Sheen refused to return to work unless Lorre was gone, while the network stood by the creator. At the same time, his personal life was unraveling again. Denise Richards obtained a restraining order after alleged threats, and custody battles followed. Later lawsuits revealed unpaid support and broken promises. The collapse was no longer hidden, but the money still flowed, and so did the spending. At his peak, Sheen was earning close to $100 million a year, but he spent it just as fast. Reports described millions going toward parties, escorts, luxury items, personal staff, and constant excess. Even after losing 2.5 Men, his habits did not change. Support payments were reduced, but the lifestyle stayed extreme. Then, in October 2010, everything finally spilled into the open during a night at the Plaza Hotel in New York. What started as another wild evening quickly turned into chaos. By early morning, hotel security called the police. The suite was destroyed, furniture broken, and reports described Sheen as highly intoxicated and ranting. He was taken to the hospital for evaluation, even though he claimed it was just a reaction to medication. Once footage of the trashed room hit the internet, the story went global, and the image of control completely disappeared. From that point on, the trouble was public and constant. Between 2010 and 2011, Sheen faced arrests, domestic violence allegations, and disturbing reports about drug use in his home. Rehab followed, but the headlines never slowed. By early 2011, his television interviews became viral moments, filled with strange phrases and confident rants. While some people found it entertaining, the financial damage was massive. Later estimates suggested he lost hundreds of millions in future earnings. Court filings revealed deep debt, crushing support payments, and the sale of valuable possessions just to keep up. Then came the breaking point. On 2.5 Men, the problems could no longer be ignored. Missed episodes, public insults, and non-stop conflict forced the network to act. In March 2011, Charlie Sheen was fired. Lawsuits followed on both sides, and although the case eventually settled, the damage was done. The show moved on without him, and his place in television history shifted overnight. Trying to regain control of the narrative, Sheen launched a live tour built around his meltdown persona. The response was harsh. Crowds booed, walked out, and mocked the performances. Instead of proving his strength, the tour exposed how fragile everything had become. Still, he refused to disappear. In 2012, he returned to television with Anger Management. The debut was strong, but the audience quickly faded. Critics complained that the jokes felt tired and the energy forced. After 2 seasons, the show ended, and the idea of a full comeback slipped further away. Over the next few years, his roles often felt like jokes about his own downfall. Legal problems continued, including serious accusations involving his children that led to temporary loss of custody. The public tone shifted from shock to concern. Then, in 2015, Sheen revealed he had been living with HIV since 2011. He spoke openly about being blackmailed and paying millions to keep his diagnosis private. While he said his condition was under control and that he had not endangered others, the revelation changed how people viewed his past behavior. His finances also became clear, with reports showing his net worth had fallen dramatically from its peak. He sold properties, took smaller roles, and even appeared briefly in the finale of 2.5 Men, marking a quiet reconciliation. After years of chaos, the story slowly shifted from destruction to survival. In 2017, Sheen entered rehab again, this time pushed by a powerful moment with his daughter. He later said that realizing he was losing his children's respect finally broke through in a way nothing else had. Around the same time, he faced serious health issues that forced him to confront the damage done by years of abuse. By late 2018, he marked a year of sobriety and began trying to reshape his public image. He appeared in small roles, started a podcast focused on veterans and trauma, and spoke more quietly about recovery. Legal issues continued, including lawsuits tied to his HIV disclosure, but some were settled privately. In 2019, he donated a large sum to HIV research, signaling a desire to contribute rather than just explain himself. By 2025, his story was being presented as a deliberate comeback. He released a memoir where he blamed fame, addiction, and even certain medications for past behavior. He spoke about hidden parts of his life, his sobriety, and his focus on being a better father. He returned to the stage with a live tour, talked about family, and tried to show stability. Still, cancelled shows, health rumors, and controversial statements about experimental medicine reminded everyone how closely the public still watched him. When he claimed that a powerful HIV drug was being suppressed, debate erupted. Fans and critics argued, questioned his motives, and revisited old doubts. Even his private relationships became part of the discussion. Through it all, the pattern remained the same. Charlie Sheen's life continued to exist under a spotlight, where every move was analyzed, every statement questioned, and every comeback met with both hope and suspicion.